Hi, welcome to Spec Hunter. Today, we're talking about something powerful, compact, and built for gaming. It's the Asus ROG Nuc 970. At first glance, it looks like a small desktop box, but there's a lot going on inside. This is not your average mini PC. It's packed with high-end hardware. Perfect for serious gamers or anyone who wants strong performance in a tiny form factor. Asus offers two versions of this device. One comes with the RTX 4060 and the other with the RTX 4070. The one we are reviewing today features the RTX 4070, which is the more powerful variant. If you're interested in seeing a comparison with the 4060 version, let me know in the comments. I'll try to get my hands on it. But for now, the focus is on the 4070 model. And I can already say it's impressive. The design is clean and compact. It looks sharp, and it feels like a premium product. At the bottom, you'll find plenty of ventilation. This is important. The system uses a dual-fan setup, which helps cool both the CPU and GPU. Inside the box, you also get a vertical stand. You can place the NUC horizontally on a desk, but using the stand gives better airflow. That's how I've been using it. I haven't even tried placing it flat, because standing it up just makes more sense. It looks better and performs better this way. Being a gaming device, Asus added RGB lighting. There's a glowing ROG logo on the side. It's customizable using the Armoury Crate software. You can choose from different colors and effects. It adds a nice touch without being too flashy. Let's talk about ports. On the front, you get a high-speed SD Express 8.0 card reader. It supports UHSI cards. There are also two USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports and a 3.5mm audio jack. Moving to the back, there are more options. You'll find two more USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, two USB 2.0 ports, a 2.5G Ethernet port, one USB 4 port with 40 gigabits per second speed, a full-size HDMI port, and two display ports. You can connect up to 4 displays at once. This is great for multitasking or creating a full gaming setup out of the box. Asus ships this model with 512 GB of storage and 16 GB of RAM. But the best part, upgrading is easy. There's only one screw to remove on the back. After that, you just unplug the RGB cable and lift the top off. Inside, you get access to RAM and storage. This device supports SODIMM DDR5 memory. It also has 3 M.2 PCIe Gen 4 slots for SSDs. That means you can add a lot of fast storage. In this unit, I installed 32 GB of DDR5 RAM at 5600 MHz and a 1 TB Gen 4 SSD. Everything is simple to access and upgrade. You don't need special tools or technical skills. If you want to expand storage or increase memory later, it's no problem at all. Now let's look at the specs. This system runs on the Intel Core Ultra 9185H processor. It has 16 cores and 22 threads. That includes 6 performance cores running up to 5.1 GHz, 8 efficiency cores up to 3.8 GHz, and 2 low-power cores that can go up to 2.5 GHz for graphics. It uses the RTX 4070 laptop GPU with 8 GB of RAM. This setup supports up to 64 GB of RAM and 3 Gen 4 SSDs. It also includes Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2 for the operating system. I'm using Windows 11. Before diving into the interface and software, I tested a few games. I started with Cyberpunk 2077. I ran it at 144p with ultra settings and enabled NVIDIA frame generation. The average frame rate was around 95 FPS. It looked stunning. Even with some ray tracing on, it held up well. DLSS helped improve performance. But even without it, the game looked great. Next, I took a look at system performance while running Windows. The processor boosts to around 120 watts during heavy tasks. While gaming, it usually stays closer to 60 watts. That's actually very efficient for the power it delivers. In older NUCs with GPUs, I remember dealing with loud fan noise. Some were as loud as jet engines, but not here. This unit is surprisingly quiet. The thermal design is much better. The 32 GB of RAM at 5600 MHz is fast enough for any task. You can use integrated graphics if needed, but the RTX 4070 really changes the game. Armoury Crate is the main software used for performance control. It gives you several modes: Turbo, Performance, Silent, and Windows Default. Turbo mode pushes the system to its highest performance level. However, one thing is missing. In older Asus systems, Armoury Crate had a manual mode that allowed you to set power limits and control fan speeds. In this model, that feature is gone. I think it's a letdown. I personally like customizing performance profiles, especially for temperature control. But the rest of the software works well. RGB lighting is easy to adjust using Aura Sync in the same app. I've set mine to a mix of blue and purple. You can choose whatever you like, either manually or from presets. I checked the BIOS as well. There are some settings for fan control and performance, but I left them at default. I'll rely on turbo mode for testing. I also checked the GPU power draw. It usually runs at 115 watts, but this model has a 25 watt boost enabled. So we're seeing up to 140 watts from the GPU. That means it's using its full potential. Then, I moved on to benchmarks. Geekbench 6 showed a single-core score of 2,570 and a multi-core score of 14,200. These numbers are excellent. For graphics, I used 3DMA tests. Steel Nomad scored 2,558. Firestrike scored 25,700. Time Spy hit 12,170. These results match other devices with similar specs, so, yes, this small box can really perform. Let's talk about more games. I tried Helldivers 2 at 144p with ultra settings and DLSS on. The frame rate was around 78 FPS. The game felt smooth and responsive. Even with DLSS turned on, the quality was high. You won't really notice a drop in sharpness unless you use performance mode. Balanced mode works well here. Skyrim is one of my favorite games. I ran it at 4000 with max settings and no mods. The frame rate was locked at 60 FPS. It was buttery smooth. Next up was Forza Horizon 5. I played it at 144p with extreme settings. The system averaged around 85 FPS. On open roads, the frame rate sometimes jumped over 100. No DLSS needed. It just worked perfectly. Spider-Man, Miles Morales, also ran beautifully. I used very high settings at 144p with no DLSS. Frame rates were great. And recent game updates have improved performance. The same goes for Spider-Man Remastered. Both games are now well optimized and run well on this hardware. Red Dead Redemption 2 was another test. I set it to 1.4 for OP Ultra with DLSS unbalanced. At first, The game glitched a bit. Settings weren't applying correctly. After a few tries, I got it running properly. The average FPS was 81, with a max of 119 and a low of 17. That low result was likely just a quick dip. Overall, the game felt smooth and stable. Horizon Forbidden West was next. I used one for 4OP high settings. At first, without DLSS or frame generation, the game ran at around 51 FPS. Turning on frame generation made a huge difference. It jumped into the 90s. That shows how helpful the feature is for demanding games. Let's look at power consumption. I used a power meter to measure wall usage. At idle, the system draws about 18 watts. While playing a 4K video, it goes up to 23 watts. During regular gaming at 144 OP, the system pulls about 183 watts. That's not bad. It's less than what full-size desktops use for similar performance. Now, temperatures. The fans don't get too loud, but the CPU runs hot. During gaming, average CPU temp was 88 degrees Celsius. I saw spikes up to 100 degrees Celsius in some cases. The GPU was cooler. It averaged 65 degrees Celsius and peaked at 69 degrees Celsius. These temps are within safe limits, but they're on the higher side. This is why I wish manual fan control was still available. I wouldn't mind more fan noise if it meant lower temps. Still, the system handles heat without throttling. In daily use, the system feels fast and responsive. Whether browsing, editing videos, or multitasking, everything works smoothly. Boot time is fast, apps open quickly, and there's no lag. This is what you expect from a premium PC, and it delivers. So who is this for? That's an important question. It's not the cheapest option. You can buy a laptop with the same specs for a lower price. But this device serves a specific purpose. It's for people who want a compact, powerful desktop. Maybe you don't have space for a full tower. Or maybe you want something small to take on the go. This machine fits that role perfectly. The build quality is solid. The hardware is impressive. Upgrade options are easy. And the gaming performance speaks for itself. Sure, the price may be high. But for the right user, it's worth it. That wraps up today's review of the Asus ROG Nuc 970. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to stay updated with all our future videos. Thanks for watching Spec Hunter. See you next time.